Hi everyone, hi members, guests, subscribers. So this time of year we globally call spring. In physical medicine, this time of year is called reactivation injury season. And if that sounds scary to you, I don't like to use fear-based selling, but I want it to be just a little bit scary to you. So what I want you to realize are by following three fairly simple factors, you can bolster your chances of getting reactivated with your favorite exercise routine or hobby in this busier season. So let's talk first about foundation. And I'm actually going to speak on what we're wearing on our feet. Now, if it has a heel on it that lifts you at all, whether it's a men's dress shoe or a woman's heel, it changes the biomechanics of the ankle. So effectively, the biomechanics are how your foot and ankle react with the surface you're standing on. Now, this matters drastically for marathon runners, for instance, or triathletes. But it matters for all of us, even if it's a walking routine that you're upping over what you did during the winter months. So when we speak on foundational support, one thing I like to mention is shoes are a lot like car tires. Just because it's got tread left on it doesn't mean it's still functional. I learned this recently. I'm meticulous about rotating my tires on my, I bought one of those unlimited packages, and Firestone's wishing they didn't sell those. But I got my vehicle in there recently and they said, you know, it's time for new tires. You do still have some tread left, but they're beginning to dry rot. Athletic shoes are very much the same way. You get about a season out of them at best. I see some of my running friends nodding out in the audience. Just because there's still tread left on there doesn't mean that the cushioning is sufficient or that the support is what it once was. So be mindful of that and do seek help. It's worth going to a specialty shop. So in town we have the Walking Company, we have Big River Running Company, we have Swim, Bike, Run. If you have specific needs, go to a golf shop, a pro shop to be fitted with your golf shoes. But think of that support for starters, because a lot of the reactivation injuries we see start with that foundational component. The second part is going to be hydration. So we all know as we increase our activity in the warmer months, we sweat. So we think hydrate, hydrate, and this is correct. We need to make sure we're taking in sufficient quantities of water. But the second component to that is, it's one thing to take in that fluid, but absorption and utilization within the body is the second component there. And so in this case, we want to think of electrolytes. Now, a few brands probably pop into your mind because of very effective marketing of ways to get electrolytes. But I want you to know it doesn't have to be a colorful drink, although that is an option. You can buy electrolyte powders, and again, triathletes tend to use these. You can find them online. I have one in particular that I like a lot called Electrolyte Synergy. It's an excellent product, but these things can be found online quite easily. Then the third component that I want to talk about is the process of actually moving the body again. So I was at the gym a couple weeks ago, and I watched a gentleman about twice my age lifting about twice the weight I'm capable of lifting, and I know exactly what he was attempting to do. He was lining up to have the most incredible golf swing ever. And I fought the urge, because I'm just not like this, to hand my business card to him and say, you're going to need a chiropractor pretty soon. Because if I didn't know better, I would have thought he was prepping for a shot put, that he was going to be hurling incredible weight over a distance. When you're training up, begin at a fraction of what the full implementation of your activity is going to involve. So if it's golf, make sure that you get some warm-up in, and I'm talking about before the season fully starts for you. Do a couple outings of 9 holes before you jump straight into that 18-hole run. When you're stretching the day before you get out there, you don't need to be loaded up with incredible weight, forceful rotations, things like that. That golf club up over the shoulders and just gentle rotation to each side, for instance. If it's running, we need to transition this in much more incrementally. Start with a gentle, short distance. If you're working your way up to 7 miles 3 times a week, please, please, please start with 1 to 2 miles twice a week and then build in accordingly. So think like this, hydration, but with electrolytes, so it actually gets absorbed and utilized. Think of support. And again, we talked about shoes because that's the most common thing, but this can be other areas. If you're lifting heavy weights, support for that. And then the third component is making sure you're training yourself up and not just jumping back in there full boat. We want to prevent those injuries. We'll see you next month, and be well. Thank you.